Unless you've been checking my community tab, you would not have found out that I have started a podcast with Mark Rogers TV, which will start airing this upcoming Monday. We're still not 100% certain on the name, but there will be a second channel where we upload all our podcast clips. We'll be talking about hot topics, takeaways from each college football week, and it'll just be more of like a news/update channel for college football, and you can expect me to upload stuff on there. So go ahead real quick and subscribe to our second channel. We're not 100% certain on the name. We need all you guys to subscribe. Without further ado, let's get started, and here's a sneak peek of what this podcast is going to be like and what the kind of content will be like on this second channel. Reminder, be sure to subscribe.
Georgia's obviously as talented as anyone. They're recruiting right there with Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama, but you need that guy at quarterback. Jake Fromm appeared to be that guy his first season, leading them to within a whisker of the national championship, and then they didn't quite deliver the passing game that they did that year, the next 2 years, and they were really good, but the expectation is now just you have to win a national championship at Georgia. Now Kirby Smart has this loaded team, Scott, and he's back to a quarterback controversy where I was looking at it in the offseason and had so many conversations on my channel about it when they got Jamie Newman, then JT Daniels. Like, this is the most talented quarterback room in the country, but who's the guy? And now JT Daniels is apparently not ready, or they're just not choosing him. I understand the loyalty to Stetson Bennett because they were in a bad situation in week one. They chose DeJuan Mathis, a 5-star who obviously wasn't ready. Their offense looked like garbage the first half. Stetson Bennett came in and did what you would expect of a game manager type quarterback with all that talent around him and a defense to rely on. He played really well for 2 or 3 games, against the likes of Tennessee and Arkansas and Auburn. Good teams, decent teams, top 25 to 30 teams in the nation. And that's good enough when you've got top 3 talent. Mm-hmm. But then when you go play Alabama and you're playing a roster just as good as yours, and they've got an actual quarterback who's now starting to look like an NFL quarterback, Stetson Bennett's not going to cut it. So what do you do here, Scott? Do you stay with Stetson Bennett, win your 10 or 11 games, go to the Sugar Bowl, and be who you are, or do you take a chance and try to win a national championship?
Well, this was absolutely fascinating. As you know, Georgia has 5 capable quarterbacks. They had Wake Forest transfer Jamie Newman, who was supposed to be like more of a dual threat guy, more of a guy who can make plays with like his legs, like something that Georgia hadn't seen. And so people were really excited about him. But then, I don't think he was actually worried about COVID. I think he just wanted to protect his NFL draft stock or something. He opts out, and then all of a sudden you get JT Daniels. He was the number 1 recruit in his class, but he reclassified, went to USC, as we all know. And then he got injured in his first game last year against Fresno State at USC. And some people were wondering maybe his knee's a little behind schedule, but they were assuming he'd be ready for the start of the season. All of a sudden, they say he's not ready. So it comes down to Stetson Bennett, the former walk-on who went to a junior college and is now back on scholarship, Carson Beck, who's an incoming 4-star recruit, and then DeJuan Mathis, who was a former 4-star recruit, who actually, fun fact, had life-saving brain tumor surgery last year. But yeah, it came down to those 3 guys, and for most college football schools, like if you had 3 capable quarterbacks, they'd be in a good spot. But for Georgia, having to settle on Stetson Bennett, it's not really good. He proved he was a game manager his first few games, as you said, but people were talking about in the Alabama game, the reason his throws aren't accurate enough is because he's shorter than like his line in the defensive line, so he has to air the ball up more. Like he has to put the ball higher up in the air, and it's leading to his passes being a little overthrown or a little less accurate. And they have so many good quarterbacks. There's no reason why they should be starting a guy like Bennett. I know he's like a home state guy, fan favorite, but I think when JT Daniels comes in, he needs to be the guy. Bennett reminds me of a poor man's like Aaron Murray, like a really poor man's Aaron Murray.
Yeah, pretty poor. Yeah, I follow your line of thinking there, Scott. But yeah, I would give Aaron Murray more credit than that. But I'm right there with you.
There's no reason why Georgia should be struggling with their quarterback position right now, and leads me to wonder if something's going on behind the scenes with JT Daniels. Maybe he's not getting along with the coaching staff, or he's too in his head, or maybe he hasn't learned the playbook or something. But there's no reason that Bennett should ever be starting over a guy like JT Daniels.
there's a situation in which the least talented quarterback out of 5 is your starting quarterback, there's something drastically wrong. Not that the most talented guy doesn't always win the job, and that's justifiable. If you've got 2 really talented guys and one guy's just a phenom and the other guy's really talented, but he understands the offense, the playbook, he makes the right reads, he makes the right throws, he doesn't turn the ball over, well, he's your guy, even though he's not quite as talented, but he makes all the right decisions. But this is a situation where you've got 5 quarterbacks and the guy that plays is the least talented by far. Well, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, I know people have been saying that Kirby Smart's offense, he needs to adapt, and people are really starting to call for his head a little bit, saying his offense is too simple. Yeah, if you have, top 3 recruiting talent and all these receivers and running backs, of course you're able to run over teams, but they always seemingly have that one fluke game, and when it comes to Alabama and some of the bigger teams, they seemingly struggle, and people are saying they need to have more of a dynamic offense instead of just doing slants and just rushes up the middle every single time and bullying opponents.
Yeah, I think if we had a heart-to-heart with Nick Saban, I guarantee that he would love to play 1970s and 80s football. That's where his heart is. He would love to still have 17-14 kind of games and still be playing that type of football, because this kind of broken open and gone after the Tua Tagovailoa type quarterbacks after the run of Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron and Jake Coker and those kind of really good quarterbacks, but serviceable quarterbacks. He now knows, I need a dynamic guy. I need to open it up. I can't get by with one Calvin Ridley or one Amari Jones or one Julio Jones. I need 4 of them to dominate. And he's adjusted. And he doesn't like it. I don't think he likes playing 63-48 games against Ole Miss, but he likes championships more than he likes holding on to 1980s football. So that's what Nick Saban's done, and Kirby Smart needs to follow in line with his old boss.
Yeah, Kirby Smart seemingly, we'll see if he ever actually beats Alabama. I always find it funny that Kirby can never beat him.
Yeah, he's 0-3 now. And the first 2 were nail biters. This one looked like the best college football game of the year for one half and then into the third quarter, and then it just slowly slipped away because I think Georgia's defense is really as good as advertised, but you just can't stay on the field after your offense is going 3 and out and turning the ball over at midfield. And it was just too much to expect from that defense that I think is probably the best defense in the country. Man, it's just going to be another wasted season at Georgia, the way it's shaping up. The Florida game is going to be fascinating because they're playing lights out on offense, but they've had their COVID concerns and issues that have delayed practice and pushed back their games. Now they're finally getting back on the field, and they couldn't stop Texas A&M. They couldn't stop Ole Miss, so they have defensive issues to deal with, but they also have the type passing attack that Alabama unleashed on Georgia. So, of course, that's going to be the game of the year in the SEC East, as we all anticipated. And we'll see if Georgia gets another crack at Bama.